G'day, I'm Revbecca. I'm here to show you a bit about how an electric bike system works. So looking at the different components that are normally found on an e-bike and how they actually are all integrated into a system. We start with the battery.
This one would slide onto a rack and it has a key lock function. So we turn it on here. The power will come out through the cable here and into the controller.
The controller is the brains of the system. It has cables mainly running up to the motor. So this one up here. These consist of Hall sensors in most motors, which allow the controller to tell the position of the motor in its rotation. And there's also the phase wires. These three thick coloured wires here are the three-phase wires. So other than that, the controller sends all the signals out to the handlebar controls. So again, each bike is different. Some bikes have a pedelec, which would also be coming out of the controller in the same way. Essentially, this one has a throttle, a cruise control, a horn, we like this one, and a regen brake lever too. So when you engage the throttle, you press down with this version, and you see power from the motor. We can actually press this down on this model with the cruise control, hit the red button, magic, keeps on rolling. We've then got the regen brake lever, which cuts power to the motor. This is a direct drive motor, so it actually turns it into reverse, helps you stop, and pushes a little bit of power back into to the battery through regenerative braking system. Other than this type of throttle, you can also choose different sorts of throttles. Some people like the twist style, like a motorbike. There's also, on some kits, a half twist style. So you can still rest your hand on the outside of the grip, like so. Essentially, that's the basics of how any electric bike system works. So you might find this controller on various locations on the bike. We'll show you some examples. As well as the direct drive type of motor, most of your smaller motors are geared type of motor. So they don't have this regenerative function, but they'll still have a brake cutout so that when you're engaging the brake, the motor will not run. Bringing your attention to the motor itself, you'll notice that the axle on the motor is flat on two sides. It's actually a larger diameter than your average 10mm axle in a bike or your quick release dropouts, but the normal dropouts in a bike are 10mm across, and this axle here is 12 or 14 millimeters they come in. So these flat sides lock into those dropouts and prevent the axle being able to turn. In actual fact, that's what the motor is trying to do, is to turn the axle. So we must prevent that from happening so that the outside of the wheel is the part that turns rather than the cables getting all chewed up and so on.
Okay, so now we understand that in a theoretical sense, we can have a look at where these components normally lie on a regular electric bike. So in this case, we have a converted electric bike. We have the motor in the hub, so it's a small 250 watt motor. The controller has been mounted in the bag up here behind the seat. It's often actually mounted in position here, but in this case the person wants to use a water bottle, so that's not so practical. The battery is mounted up here, and of course your handlebar controls up here. So this is a different system. It's got a thumb throttle on the left, it's got a display that mounts over the center, and it's got some pedelec controls on the right hand side. So this is an existing e-bike, a bike that's been built to be electric. Usually the giveaway is that it has a nice in situ position for the battery. The controller is hiding down here below the battery, so not so easy to get to and often very hard to get the controller in and out of, especially with all the plugs and so on. Again, it's a rear wheel motor hiding in behind the disc brake there, and the handlebar controls are set up in this case with a half twist style throttle and a different sort of display that just gives you a battery gauge and tells you 3 levels of pedal assist. Thanks guys, I've been Revbecca from Revbikes, and keep those amps revved up. Have a great day.
Nice.